Welcome to Teyvat Historia. It's here, Genshin Impact 2.0, and with it, the wait for Inazuma is at long last over. Along with that update, we received 2 new archon quests, with several small details and several other otherwise obscure references. In this video, I'm going to go over 19 of those that you may have missed from the quest, the Immovable God in the Eternal Euthymia. But first, I'm currently striving to reach 100,000 subscribers. If you're a returning viewer, or if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to help the channel reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. Now, on to the video. Catherine has been around since the game released, but with each new nation that comes out, we find another new Catherine that is somehow also the same Catherine we've already met. Once we arrive in Inazuma, she makes a cheeky joke about teleporting from place to place so that it seems like she's in multiple places all at once. But in reality, we don't actually know how or why she seems to occupy every location at once. There have been some minor rumors for a while now that Catherine had a keyhole on the back of her neck, but without a canon shot to frame it, I've long written that off as simply hearsay until now. In this shot, after she asked that we come speak with her once reaching Inazuma, miHoYo clearly and carefully framed the camera to subtly highlight the keyhole on the back of her collar. Of course, this could simply be part of her clothing, but with this rather classic keyhole design, now prominently displayed, as well as her common voice lines which include,
"Error. Rebooting."
I'm more convinced than ever that Catherine is more complex than we could ever know. While talking with Catherine, Seadrake arrives to inform us that the Alcor is ready to depart. Seadrake is actually the steerman of the Alcor. If you head over to the Alcor, which still resides in Guyonstone Forest even after it's depicted sailing away, you will find Seadrake claiming to never leave his post while on the voyage. I guess being anchored at Guyonstone Forest for 10 months left him a little restless to get his land legs back. We arrive in Inazuma appropriately on the island of Rito, which is the island headed up by the Kanjo Commission. It was established as a trade port for Inazuma hundreds of years ago by Lord Hiragi Hiroshi in the time before the Sakuko Decree, which was said to have greatly impressed the Shogun at that time. Beidou introduces us to Toma, and she specifically mentions that Toma had been living on the island of Rito, and that she had come to know him only recently, which is again confirmed later by Toma when he explained the process in which he earned the title of Fixer during his month-long effort of networking with anyone who comes to and from Inazuma's once prosperous trade port. In fact, the island today is only prosperous to those from Inazuma, while all outsiders are heavily gouged or taxed, leaving them to languish on the island, struggling to make even modest profits. This was clearly showcased by Inspector Eureka, who attempts to charge the traveler and Paimon 2 million mora to process their residency within Inazuma, a task that Toma suggests should cost just a meager 600 mora. It is also on display again later, as members of the International Trade Association describe overtaxation by Inazuman officials. Keeping with a similar theme for now, the president of the struggling International Trade Association is originally from Fontaine. As such, his clothing is much like other characters we've seen from that nation, and further displays the theme of magical performers, albeit in a slightly less flashy way than Mona, Linné, or Lynette. The Traveler and Paimon are recognized by Toma immediately upon reaching Inazuma for their deeds in Mondstadt and Liyue, suggesting that the deeds of our protagonist will continue to spread around long before we reach the other nations of Teyvat. I suspect that this will not always work out to be a good thing, but for now, it worked out pretty well. The Kamisato clan, heads of the Yashiro Commission, seem to be something similar to royalty in the nation of Inazuma. When the chief samurai of the Kanjo Commission pushes back against Toma and the Yashiro Commission's involvement in the taxation of outlanders within Inazuma, he states that the Kanjo Commission has control over the happenings on Rito. But a quick threat of negative remarks passed to the Shogun from the Shirasagi Himegimi, Kamisato Ayaka, results in the chief tucking his tail between his legs, prompting swift closure of the matter. This suggests that even the Shogun has respect and some regard for the clan in charge of the nation's traditions. Perhaps she sees the Kamisato clan as a valuable asset in maintaining her ideal of an unchanging eternity, at least for the time being. Although we would later find out during her story quest that Kamisato Ayaka does not have many people she can truly call her friends due to her duty-bound way of life, she was quite excited to meet the traveler regardless. In fact, MiHoYo showed us a bit of her excitement prior to our protagonist's arrival in the trailer Kamisato Ayaka, Camellia in Winter Snow. If you haven't yet, you should go check that out over on the official Genshin Impact YouTube channel. As the questline progresses, we're introduced to Hiragi Shinsuke, the Kanjo commissioner who attempts to stall the traveler and Paimon's progress in order to prevent them from leaving Rito, until his own daughter steps in and helps provide the pair with a route of escape. Hiragi Shinsuke is the head of the Hiragi clan, which are the current-day descendants of Hiragi Hiroshi, the original founder of the island of Rito I described earlier in the video. Let's hope that Hiroshi was less of a tyrant than his current descendant. In Inazuma, like in Mondstadt and Liyue, there are several statues of the Seven, which depict the current archon, the almighty Shogun. Curiously, the statue of the omnipresent god does not resemble the current Electro Archon at all. Could this be an active indication by the Shogun that the previous Electro Archon is ever present in her seemingly emotionless state of Euthymia? This one isn't so much a hidden story detail, but if you look behind the wall near the entrance to the Komore tea house, there's a chest with 180,000 mora inside. Make sure to head back there and grab it, in case you missed it. Speaking of the Komore tea house, while there, Toma mentions that he knew Kazuha's friend, hinting that he may have had some connection to the Yashiro Commission, but also foreshadowing Kazuha's later involvement in the Archon quest that will follow. When tasked by Kamisato Ayaka to help ease the suffering of those who have recently had their visions taken from them, two of the victims not only suffered a complete loss of their ambition, but also substantial loss of memory. However, Domon, the once ambitious swordmaster with the spark to be the best in the world, was conversely stricken with grief, rendering him unable to open his mind to the present, instead dwelling on what he perceived as his past mistakes. We don't know exactly what resulted in such a complete polar opposite reaction in Domon compared to the other two at this time, but Domon also seems to be the only one of the three who has the capacity to maintain his ambition without his vision after the resolution of the incident. Kamisato Ayaka on multiple occasions has been shown with a fan in hand. While these fans have had a long and complicated history here in our real world, their original purpose in Japanese culture was for use by the samurai and aristocratic classes as an instructive tool to write on, or in many cases, simply a symbol of status. And this holds true here for Ayaka, as she is indeed the eldest daughter of the Kamisato clan. Another interesting point to bring up here is that Ayaka also uses the fan during her elemental burst, suggesting this fan might actually be intended to represent a Japanese war fan known as a Tessen. On multiple occasions throughout the questline, Ayaka raises concerns that she must limit her direct involvement, as revealing her actions would result in swift retribution to the Yashiro Commission and make everything much tougher for the rest of her clan. It will be interesting to see what, if any, event will result in Ayaka throwing caution to the wind, publicly revealing herself to be sympathetic to the resistance and thus an enemy to the Shogun. Possibly the most intriguing character we're introduced to in this questline is Yahe Miko. Worth noting here is that most of the art and trailer details we've seen of this character prior to this questline kept the angles straight on or from the left of her face, preventing us from seeing her right hair accessory, which at first glance seems the same as the one on the left, but is actually an electrovision. There's a lot of implications with this observation. I'm actually working on a theory video for what I think is going on with Yahe Miko, so be sure to keep an eye out for that one over the next week or so. Another possible point that adds further intrigue to Yahe Miko is her shared physical trait with another character on the roster. She appears to have large animal ears swept backwards into her hair in a fashion similar to that of Sucrose. Could it be that she and Sucrose are the same race? Considering Yahe Miko's ties to the foxes of the Kitsune Shrine, this could be one of our first leads towards unearthing what race Sucrose actually is. When Kujo Sara arrives in the prison to check on Masakatsu, she realizes her guards had been torturing him, Upon noticing that resistance members had also been hiding with intent to rescue him, she allowed all involved parties to leave without conflict, as Masakatsu required immediate medical attention. This displayed Kujo Sara in an honorable light. In addition to serving as the Shogun's general, she may also act in some degree as the Shogun's moral compass, righting wrongdoings when she sees the opportunity, so long as doing so does not create an immediate threat to the Electro Archon's vision of eternity. A curiosity here is that while Sara was instrumental in the events which resulted in the death of Kazuha's friend, Kazuha recognizes that she is an honorable person and does not understand why she continues to serve the Shogun's army. Last, but certainly not least, was the scene in which the traveler touches the statue of the omnipresent god. Try as I might, I have not been able to understand the majority of what the voices are saying, nor make any progress from the visuals depicted. You can make out what sounds like the voice of Yahe Miko at the beginning, saying, "to reach your destiny," and another male voice at the same time which says, "to protect." But the rest is drowned out by the pulsing sounds that start playing over top of these. Towards the latter portion, you can hear, if you listen closely, what seems to be the same male voice saying, "Vision, Hunt, Decree." This short sequence is certainly off-putting overall, and depicted as somewhat painful for the traveler in the moment. I feel certain that this is intended to foreshadow future or past developments in Inazuma, but for now, I'm uncertain what exactly it might be trying to tell us. That's it for all the details you might have missed from the quest Immovable God in the Eternal Euthymia. If you noticed anything I missed, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you're notified when my next video goes live. Thanks for watching Teyvat Historia. May the 7 guide you, travelers.